So this next chapter is the Golden Rule modified. And I'm sure everybody's familiar with the Golden Rule, which is treat others the way you want to be treated. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good way to go. Makes sense. But I think that the phrasing should be a little bit longer. It should include more. And what I think that should be is treat other people the way that you want to be treated without the expectation or the requirement that you receive that same treatment in return in order for you treating them in that manner to persist into the future, you know. And and I think that it's important like that because I believe that most friendships, most relationships, I my personal belief is that most of them are transactional. And I'm not saying that some of them should be something that they're not or should be any different. Because when you treat someone a certain way and you want them to treat you a certain way, that part makes sense. But I think that we have to keep in mind sometimes it's our perceived uh, treatment by others. You know, we have to see the way that they treat us with our own eyes, and we have to process that, and we have to compute that information. And I think that sometimes we can be flawed in our judgment of what that behavior is. Not always, you know, obviously, but I think sometimes we can. Um, and the other thing too is we get to be selective in who it is that we have in our lives. And it's not always really about the other people. It's about doing what we can because we are in control of ourselves and that's it. So if you always treat other people a certain way with kindness and love and respect, or whatever the metrics are you choose to treat people, like if you want to choose, if you choose to treat them with hostility and anger and violence or whatever, you know, I mean, that's everybody gets to kind of do what they want. But if you'll treat them that way, regardless of how they treat you back, I'm not saying you have to keep spending time with those people or with that person that's not treating you well, because you have to draw a line in the sand for how you allow other people to treat you. Because if you do not draw that line, nobody else is going to draw that line for you. And they will keep moving it back and back and back and further on you until you just get treated like crap by everybody. And like you don't need that. Like you should be treated well by the people that are in your life. Otherwise, what's the point in having them there? You know, then if they're just placeholders and people just to keep you company because you don't have anybody else, then I would spend some time by yourself till you find better people in your life. But if you'll always treat people that way and in that manner, like the best that you can possibly treat them, then you don't really have to worry about anything after that. You know, you can lay your head down at night and you can just have, you know, find gratitude and find peace in knowing that you treated people well, that you treat people well. But another thing too that it took me a while to realize is so we can observe other people that exist outside of ourselves and we can treat them in a certain manner because we have the ability to observe them and we're kind of a third party, you know, looking out, or we're, you know, first person or whatever. But we also have the ability to observe ourselves. And in being able to do that and with us being conscious, we have the ability to treat ourselves in a certain way as well. And I know for a fact that you can treat yourself worse, way worse than anybody else. Way worse. And you may not even be that aware of the fact that it's even going on. So you have to figure out how to treat people well. But that also goes the same for you. You have to learn to treat yourself well. And you have to treat yourself like you think someone should be treated if you were to love that person, regardless if that is reciprocated or not, because we can't really treat ourselves in a certain manner and then treat ourselves back. We can treat ourselves in a certain way and we can receive that treatment, though. And if you learn how to love yourself properly, inside of doing that, you also find out what it is to be loved. If you want to feel out how to be grateful or feel gratitude towards someone, if you can find a way to feel gratitude towards yourself, then you not only learn how to show gratitude, but you also get to learn how to receive that as well. And if you don't have anybody in your life, I think that's a very important thing to learn, to discern, because if you rely on the entire world outside of yourself to convince you that you are worthy of love or that your life is worthy of something, there is no guarantee that you'll ever find that inside of anybody else, because you don't even know what that looks like. But if you can learn how to make yourself feel loved and to love yourself, then you get to see what it is to love someone. And inside of knowing how to do that, you also get to see what it is to be loved by someone. And even though it's you, even though it's just you, it's possible. It is 100% possible. And sometimes you loving you is going to be the only love that you have. And if you don't love you and you don't know how to love yourself and you don't know how to feel loved, then other people can love you all they want. And there's going to be no guarantee that you'll ever even see that or understand what that is, because you do not know how to be loved. So treat other people how you feel you should be treated or how you would want to be treated. And continue to treat them in that manner, regardless of whether or not they treat you the same way back. Because you don't have any control over the way someone else treats you. The only thing you have control over is the way that you treat them, the way you treat yourself. And the way you treat yourself, that's one that takes time, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort to figure that out. But how you treat people matters. How you treat yourself matters. How you allow other people to treat you consistently throughout your life also matters. And it's okay to step away from people that don't treat you well. It really is. And I mean, you might have 20 friends, and 20 of those friends, all 20 of them may treat you really, really poorly. So if you have to step away and you have to let all those 20 friends go and you have no friends left whatsoever, it's all right, Hang out by yourself, figure out how to treat you good, and then at least you're being treated well. Because sometimes, from personal experience, us treating ourselves well is going to be the best treatment that we can get from anybody. And if you have no one else, and you also treat yourself poorly, then you have nothing. But if you can learn to love yourself outside of what anyone else does or what anyone else thinks or what anyone else says, and become someone that you feel should be loved, then it doesn't really matter if you have anybody in your life or not, because you still get to love someone, and you still get to be loved by someone, even that person's you. So treat people well and learn how to treat yourself well. And if you feel like you're not someone that should be treated well, then I think that you should become someone you feel should be treated well, because that matters too. But yeah, so see you on the next video.